But in the field of applied behavior analysis, there's only so many people that I run into nowadays that can say they've been in this field for about 20 years or more. And it's always fun to do that, because for those of us that have been in this field, we have seen a great deal of change. But one of the things that never changes is the impact that we try to have with families and what we want to teach and what we want to disseminate so that we can make a difference in this world. And nobody, in my opinion, has inspired me in the recent couple of years in the field of ABA more than this gentleman right here. So,
thank you, Doctor.
And I don't tell him that very often because gotta keep it neutral, but it is true.
Thank you,
and
sir.
so, without further ado, please help me welcome Mr. Bill Lisell.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Doctor. That was a wonderful introduction. I greatly appreciate it. For those of you who may not know me, again, I'm Mr. Bill. Please call me Bill. No one important. Been in the field for quite some time, about 2 decades. I began specializing with the gang population, abused kids, things of that nature. And the reason I mention that is it has a lot to do with my approach, humanistic ABA. Being positive, making sure that the children feel comfortable in our presence, making sure their learning experiences are also enjoyable for them. I don't see any problem with teaching the kids while they're having a good time. In fact, I find learning is more successful during that process. So do me a favor, if I'm talking too fast, please tell me to slow down. If anything needs to be repeated, please let me know, and I will happily do so. So you're gonna see some papers in front of you before I begin. We have a pre-test and a post-test. If you can just go ahead and circle pre-test. And please, I don't want anybody to feel any pressure. This is mostly for me to make sure that I'm training things correctly, that I'm getting my points across, and I'm being effective as an instructor. I see a lot of brilliant minds here. I want to make sure I give you what you deserve in my teaching. So please take your time, and we'll continue when everybody's ready. Good? All set? Everybody good if I begin? Cool? All right. So before I start, I just wanted to mention, the way I look at it, behavior analysis is a science, but we work with people, we work with kids. So I think with that, the way you work with them, it's almost like an art. You develop a style using the science, and the style I like to use is more the positive humanistic base. So that's what the approach we're going off of. Okay? All right, we'll go ahead and move forward. Let me make sure I do this right. Okay, redirection. I'm going to go ahead and just read the definition that we got. It is the process of directing to an appropriate activity item opposed to reprimanding. Okay? Who thinks why we would do that? Any thoughts? Smart group. Why would we not want to just reprimand? Why would we want to try to redirect to something positive?
Because reprimand would consider as like a punishment. You're going to do what I say do, or else.
And think about it this way. How would you feel, Faye, if somebody did that to you 8 hours a day for a week? You lose interest, you lose your motivation. So doing this, there's a couple of reasons, but one of it is you want to make it a positive experience. You want them to come back. You want it to be reinforcing. You want them to enjoy it. So when you don't reprimand, you're allowing for that. Now, another thing that I want to mention, the problem with reprimanding, I find, is you're telling the kids what you don't want them to do. And a problem with that is that we're not presenting the skill for them what we want them to do. So with redirection, we allow for that. And this is what we're going to provide you for making the right decision. So it presents the opportunity to not only teach, but reinforce that teaching. Okay? Questions, concerns, insults, compliments? Take them off. All right. Go a little bit forward here. Let's see. And to limit escalation as well. Sorry, I forgot about that one. That's a big one. Punishment-induced behavior. If you punish somebody so much, they can only have so much of a threshold. I'm human, and I've had moments that if I take too much, I don't want to be in there anymore. So then you have escape behaviors. You have increased behaviors that make it very hard to teach any skills. So the limiting of escalation, I think, is a big one. And it gives the opportunity to contact reinforcement. And that's important, because once kids start getting rewarded for doing the right things, that's when you see those trend lines go up. Okay, very cool. I'll give a couple examples here. Stop running. What do we want them to do instead?
Walk.
Perfect. So not only that, we're giving them the right instruction. We're providing them the right opportunity. Okay? Good so far? And then another one we have, yeah, that was it. Anybody think of any other examples? Any RBTs? Any parents in the audience? Anybody think of anyone?
Getting them to reduce the volume of it. Say you can say something again, but use a softer inside voice.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Tone has a lot to do with that too, your presentation. Especially, I try to think about it, I'm a 44-year-old man, and these kids are up here on me. So I try to be very careful of how I do that. I could come off almost scary, and that's the last thing I want to do with these kids. So, all right. Man, it's a smart group. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit more about RIRD. It's like redirection, except we get this nice little component here. Response interruption. Anybody want to tell me what that is? Perfect.
Get them to stop.
Yep, exactly. So, okay, Miss Pam, let's do this. Let's clap our hands. Let's clap our. Okay, let's come on over here now. So that's why that helps. You're stopping the decel behavior. You're not getting a whole bunch of attention because you're giving attention to the instruction. You can reinforce that, and then you can redirect them. So you break that negative behavior chain. Cool?
I like this.
Like
Yeah.
distraction, basically.
In a sense. I would call it almost a useful distraction. So you're providing them the opportunity to go to the right. So yeah, long story short, it's a distraction for their benefit, I would call it.
Is there particular things that you would do for response interruption for different scenarios?
Wonderful question. The first thing I would look with that is look at your child's skill set, see what they're capable of. So if you have kids who may have a lot of fine motor issues, you may want to have them do gross motor things. So like if you have kids who maybe are highly verbal and they prefer speaking, I would recommend some kind of, have them repeat after you. Really anything that you're going to find them more motivated to do. And really parents know their kids the best. I would just go off of what they're mostly to comply with, if that makes sense. And keep it very simple because the harder it is, the odds are they may not perform it. So very simple one-step things, I would say. I hope that answered your question, sir.
Yeah.
Good, excellent.
Can this be a shock response when you're talking about response interruption? Meaning that if, example, I'm going to go to our children that put the most pressure on our parents,
Okay,
okay? So let's say, we have our kids that their form of communication is screaming because they're learning. So if they're in a maladaptive behavior, flip the table over because it's time to clean up our toys.
Mhm.
Mommy said it's time to put toys away. Flip the table over. So parents right now are watching all these wonderful YouTube videos as I make my eye roll. You get what I'm saying though? But some of them actually have just cause. So like I'll give you an example. For me, when I have a kid that I know has worked the last nerve of the RBT because they've been screaming for 45 minutes, Miss Pam has been known to be silly, very silly. And so I'm like, that silliness is the interruption then, correct?
Sure.
So that silliness would be like the kid screaming and Miss Pam coming in and going, "Ah!" and the kid looking at me going, it stops that, but then go, okay, let's sit at the table. Ah! Sit at the table, because you are interrupting that sometimes uncontrollable response. Correct?
Absolutely. And I got to give you credit, Pam. You mentioned something called a changeover delay.
Okay.
So I'm a huge fan of changeover delays. So let's talk about that. So the child's screaming like you were saying. And let's say they say, then we eventually give them what they want. So what did they now learn? That by screaming it.
yeah.
Now what I like about the silliness, it's very effective because now you're creating a changeover delay. You're interrupting that, and now you're having him mimic what you're doing. And you're reinforcing not what he was doing before, but now that you interrupted that and had him do that, you're now reinforcing him complying to you.
Very
and then
nice.
you can reinforce it back in. So that, yes, sir.
Finish what you're saying.
Oh yeah, so I just wanted to mention, so I had a child, the problem was every time he would attack me, they were very nice people, they were just inexperienced, they would offer him candy. So, Bill got beat up a lot because the poor kid, by no fault of his own, was now thinking, okay, if I hit Bill, I get candy.
Yes.
So what we would do is if he hits me, we would put him in a task.
Okay.
The changeover, like you're screaming, we interrupt it. So now if he complies, we can now reinforce the task, not the fact that he's beating up a poor old man.
Very
So,
nice.
yeah.
Very nice.
So I'm big on changeover delays. It really helps break those behavior chains. So yeah, I think that's a good step.
Change over delay.
Okay, let's see, did I miss anything? Okay, for example. So in a way, Pam, that was almost like a verbal prompt. Because you're kind of prompting him to do that behavior.
So the verbal prompt would be the follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
So I've now broken the response of him just screaming,
Yep.
thinking that I'm going to wade you out, mom and dad.
Right.
The only reason I bring up the screaming is because in my past experience talking to parents, it's how do I stop Johnny from screaming all the time? He comes home and he's screaming at me. He lays on the floor because I can't give him the iPad, so he's going to scream at me. And look, I just worked 8 hours. I've had a rough day. I don't want to deal with that shit when I get home. And so what do I, look, I'm being real, guys. This is what real parent talk is. Remember, I have a neurodivergent kid. And after working a 10-hour day and coming home, and the first thing Loki, when he was nonverbal, would have been, and I'm like, I take whatever the hell you want so that you can give me 5 minutes so I can breathe. I mean, I don't mean to be that over, but this is real life of what our parents are dealing with. So what I have found in working with all my kids is that, just like you said, where parents didn't know better. So without having information or knowledge, they made the situation worse.
Right.
Because they taught the child that from the screaming, I'm going to give you whatever you want. Just like what you were saying. Oh, I hit you, I'm going to get a piece of candy. I'm going to get a Skittle. Okay, well, let me hit you some more. I want a whole pack of Skittles. I don't want one. So then, for me, the funny thing is, how do we break that chain reaction? And so this response interruption is putting, for me, even with my years, this is the wording for Pam's Secret Weapon 101.
Yep.
And the interruption sometimes doesn't have to make sense to you, but it is enough that the kid takes a pause.
Right.
And that's what we're looking for, the pause. And then follow up with, okay, let's go sit down. And they're going to look at you for a moment and be like, no, I'm not doing that. But then you got to reinforce that yourself to be the silly one, or the breaking, like you were saying, or like you were tasked then directing.
Exactly.
So, like if I had this cookie and this is what he's been used to, if he comes punches you in the gut, he's going to get a cookie, so he's just quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, he goes to punch, we block, and we go, do you want your cookie? Sit down.
Right.
Let's go sit down. You still, because then to him or her, they're getting the cookie.
Exactly.
But now we're not in the behavior they're learning. We're retracking the brain to learn a different behavior response to get the cookie.
Exactly. And you're right, Pam, and you do that by breaking that chain and introducing it. And I want to go back to what you said, because you brought up a good point. The response interruption can be a little silly. You're exactly right. What we want to focus on really is the redirection. That's when you reinforce. This is more to just break that chain up. So that's a very good
Nice.
point. Powerful point. Yes, sir.
Somewhat God, I'm sorry.
No problem. Take your time.
Unrelated question. Are you guys, would you be able to share this slide deck with us after the presentation?
It'll be, all this is going to be shared on the Circle platform under parent training.
Okay.
You'll be able to go in there and actually fill this out, as well as see a full replay of this with the slide deck. I will include the PDF of the slides there as well.
Thank you so much.
My
Excellent.
pleasure.
Cool. All right. So we can make that available. Great. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And of course, if you have any questions after, I have time, so I'd be more than willing to stay. We'll move on forward. Any questions so far, guys? Am I keeping everybody motivated? Energy? Good. Okay. All right, let's see. All right, I'm going to go back to a little bit the ABA 101 just to make sure we got this nailed down. Can anybody tell me the ABA sophisticated definition for reinforcement? Don't worry, no pressure, guys. We're all friends here.
Hey, you said official.
That's the thing. I can give an unofficial one.
Okay, let's go with unofficial. We'll build off of that.
Yeah, reinforcement is doing an activity that increases a behavior as opposed to decreasing it.
Yeah, it's anything.
Yeah.
You're like 90% right. It could be an activity. It can be an item.
Yeah, not 100%. Not bad.
Yep. I'd say even 98. I gave you more credit than that.
I appreciate it.
So, and that's very important. And before I go forward, I want to make sure I'm very clear. What may be reinforcing for Mary may not be reinforcing for John. Okay. So I got a lot of Italian in me. We love calamari. Raise your hand if you like squid. Okay. All right. Raise your hand if you don't like squid. There you go. So what's reinforcing for the ladies in the back and John is, or not reinforcing, is reinforcing to us. And that's very important when you look at reinforcement. We got to remember these kids are individuals and everybody's different. We look at the person first. So we just really want to figure that out. And we'll get into preference assessments and I'll show you how we can do that. So positive reinforcement is anything that you add that will increase that future frequency of behavior. So let's see. I've got providing candy when a child mans, which is the technical term for ask. Providing outside when the child mans. Okay? So if the child likes outside and every time they ask we take them, what do we think is going to happen to that asking behavior? It's gonna go up. You're going to see it go up. Okay? Now, negative reinforcement. This one is a little difficult to grasp at first. It can be, I had trouble when I started out, so I'll give a couple examples. Negative reinforcement is anything that you take away that'll increase the future frequency of behavior. So something I like to think about, let's say you have a child who has a huge 10-page report he has to do, okay? And poor kid's been working for an hour, he just needs a break. Raises his hand and he asks for a break. We take the paper away. So you're removing something that's relatively aversive. But what's going to happen with that break behavior? What's that kiddo going to do?
Ask for more breaks.
Excellent. Exactly right. So that's the purpose there, excuse me. Negative doesn't mean bad. Think of it like mathematics. You're taking something away. You're in a deficit. Positive, you're adding something. Okay? Cool. Anybody want to throw some examples out? Bonus questions? We try? Or not?
I just have a question to clarify.
Of course,
So
of course.
In either situation, the idea of reinforcement is that it increases the behavior.
Exactly right.
Okay.
The future frequency, yeah, increases that. Now, to get a little further, punishment would decrease. But that'll be a training for another day. I try to stay away from punishment because it could cause a lot of emotional reaction. I've seen a lot of times kids get really afraid of it, so I really try to start with reinforcement.
Is there ever scenarios in which you feel like punishment would be appropriate?
In highly intense, dangerous behaviors. All clients I used to work with, 20 years ago, highly self-destructive, very injurious, we had to take them to the hospital a bunch of times. So in that situation, again, I'm not a fan of it, but that's a behavior you want to see go down really quickly because it's so dangerous to the child.
I imagine there's probably, in proper terms, like some form of triage of like if the positive reinforcement didn't work, if this and this doesn't work, then you know.
Absolutely, sir. So reinforcement, then extinction. Extinction means when you just no longer provide reinforcement. So think of a vending machine. You ever put $1 in and then it doesn't give you your drink? That's extinction. Yeah, and you get upset. Yeah, you get extinction burst. So you're basically no longer reinforcing. So if that doesn't work, then you go to punishment.
What would be like a more practical real world example of extinction?
Okay, I can use one of my kids. So let's say that you have a child who would do his work and then he would start yelling and screaming.
I do actually.
Okay, okay. All right, well, I can give you that's a prime example. It hits home. So what we would do is we would no longer reinforce that. We would keep the work with him. Now, you may be thinking, what would we do from there? That's when you would teach the replacement skill. So instead of yelling and screaming, you need a break and have them say, break, please. Then we reinforce that. So in theory, and hopefully it goes in practicum, is you'll see those requests go up and you'll see the behaviors go down.
So extinction would that be similar to like ignoring?
Depending on, so there's functions, attention, escape, access, and automatic. So if a child's doing it for attention, you would ignore it because you're removing that attention. But just to remember, if it's for escape, it's not so much attention, you just want to make sure you don't allow them to escape. So it has a lot to do with the rationality, the situation, the intent the child does it, the function, if you will. So, good questions, very good questions. So okay, I think we got that figured out. What else we got here, Mr. Bill?
Just so you know, that's one of the #1 questions missed on the RBT test. Because they associate negative reinforcement with punishment.
I'll tell you, Pam, that's probably been the biggest misconception in my career. Everybody does it. I don't blame them. It's kind of a difficult concept if you're new to it. So, yeah.
Yeah, don't judge me. I go straight to punishment.
But again, there may be certain styles that work, and I've seen you work.
Well, no, I'm going to critique because I know we have a lot of parents that listen to this. I'm so sorry. And Pam stuffs her mouth after the Zoom. I think about Loki cleaning his room. I used to go straight to, okay, I was tell, show, do, tell, show, do, tell, show, do. We talked about this. Positive reinforcement was I tried the allowance thing. I tried with, you want to do this, you want to go for this. Well, we can't do this without this. Negative reinforcement, I take away the power cord. Because if the electronics is what's stimulating you to not clean your room, we're going to take away the power cord so that you have the stimuli to clean the room. Until I looked at it from a severe ADHD, which is what Loki's problem is as an older kid now, when teenage years and cleaning the room. It's not that he doesn't want to clean it. It is completely, oops, squirrel. I was cleaning the room, but here's the trash bag, here's everything, and now I completely forgot, and I just went back to the game system.
So then when I would come in and be like, Loki, he physically will get upset because he looks at what he got halfway into and then left and he's like, Mom, I can't believe it only took me 3 minutes when you brought it to my attention to do it. So it's funny reading this, even sitting back in these years, and I say this because I need parents, educators, RBTs, BCBAs that are watching this, that we all need a refresher sometimes. Because sitting here, I'm going, oh, Pam.
But you know, Pam, I got to give you credit because you tried everything before. You did the positive and you did all that. So it sounds like
You didn't ask me what no, sir. No,
Oh,
I
okay.
appreciate you, but no. I also did the crazy mom thing. And look, we all laugh, but y'all know what I mean by the crazy mom thing. I don't know what the hell else to do. Why don't you listen to me? Why don't you think about it? Blah, blah, blah. That's all reaction. And then I sit back and then mom cries. And then mom comes up, Loki, I'm sorry. I was like, well, but I don't know what else to do. So yes, I hear you. But when we're live in the moment with the
Okay.
parents, when we're live in the moment and our kid is being non-compliant, the last thing, I'm going to be honest with you, Bill.
Sure.
The last thing, Miss Pam, even me, I'm going to be like, the hell with that positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, you little pain in the ass. I'm going to whoop your ass. Yeah, sorry, I'm laughing at that, but we all talk, this is real life.
Well,
Parent training can't be fake. It's got to be real life. And in real life, when you're in the crisis as the parent, you love your child, you want to do the best, but we're not thinking about all that.
Right.
You know, so I appreciate you acknowledging that, but no, man, there's a lot of growth. We've got 20 years of growth between Loki and I to get to that point. But even as a 20-year-old, I have to understand his mindset. And so what we found to be the most successful in that situation wasn't punishment, wasn't negative reinforcement. It was vocal positive reinforcement to remind him, touch it once. Touch it once, Loki. Touch it once, because what happens with the severe ADHD is that, okay, I need to go put this away, and then he sets it down to pick something else up that needs to be put away, and then he doesn't even see this. And we couldn't understand that when you don't think in that mindset, in the frontal lobe and the way the brain works. Literally, this cup that he set down, that he should have thrown in the trash, sitting right here, that he bagged up and took out, he no longer sees that cup.
It's out of his scope.
Correct.
Next thing.
So then it takes the prompt to come in and be like, so you're not cleaning your room today? But I did clean it, Mom. And I'm like, oh, really? I said, I see a sock there, I see a bottle cap there, I see a cup there, I see, and without the understanding, it's frustration as a parent. Because we don't understand, and most of our neurodivergent children can't go, hey, Mom, I don't see that cup. Because they can't vocalize that. They can't express that to us as parents. And so then we feel, and I can say, not just myself, because I've talked to other parents, then you feel like you've let your kid down. And why didn't we see these things? So I know that what we're doing in the scope is reinforcement and everything, but I feel that the knowledge that you're sharing here, number one, to understand that by taking something away is not punishment.
Right. It's
You know,
removal of reinforcement.
Correct. And if we change our mindset as the parent, then it gives us an opportunity to take a moment and pause and then look at it with different perspective. And so that was my 2 cents onto that part there, is just remember that it's not a disrespect to the parent. Sometimes we have to see through the eyes of our kids.
Sure. And I think you mentioned something earlier, Pam, that's very important. They have their own jobs, and then they have lives and things and other pressures that are going on. So to say that everything can be followed perfectly 100% of the time, it's just not possible.
Perfect.
And they get credit for that.
So now let me ask you a question. Since you have gone circle and you admitted that, us parents, we are fallible. So then let's say
That's
that
mine.
so let's say that when you're in as a parent, let's say for me, I'm in the moment with Loki. I've done throwing your positive and negative reinforcement out the door.
Okay.
I've done lost it. I'm batshit crazy right now because my house is a mess and he doesn't give 2 shits. I'm losing it. I feel disrespected. I feel like a failure as a mom. These are parent moments. What would you advise the parent in that moment to do?
In all honesty, the first thing I would do is tell them not to beat themselves up and let them be aware that these things occur a lot and that they have to deal with it the majority of the time. So I want to take that stress away from them, understanding that if they make errors, they're human. And there's times, even in a controlled environment, we can't always run everything well. And in the home setting, that's just not a controlled environment. So that's the first thing I would tell them, Pam, is just not beat yourself up if you don't get it right the first time, and make valiant attempts. And then that's when I say, if you need any help and if you have any problems, we'll look at the program together and we'll see what will be more fitting in your home setting. Because that's how I think it's all about. We're working with individuals and we need to individualize treatment. But that would be the first thing, letting them know, it's never perfect. Life's not perfect. So sometimes you'll have to adjust, and don't feel like the bad guy if you didn't get 100% right. That's all.
Did you say that time? Yeah, you did. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, because that clip, you're going to be famous for that clip right there. Because as parents, sometimes we just need that reminder.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I wish 10, 15 years ago, I would have had a professional that would have told me, hey, Mom, it's okay.
Yeah.
We all have this happen, because I think in this world, we are so afraid of being judged and criticized for our parenting style and skills when we're doing the best we can.
Oh, absolutely. And I think there's theory, and then there's practicum, there's application. And as everybody knows here, theory and application don't always mesh 100%. And I think that's where creativity comes into place, and flexibility.
But I appreciate this
Oh,
very much
absolutely.
as a parent. Thank you.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't have all the answers. I wish I did. And you guys know your kids better, and just suppose that. So, yeah, thank you for that conversation. I think that's important to say. Okay, ASR, active student responding. Who's ready to do some ASRs? Okay, so what I'm going to do here, it stands for active student responding. You'll see a 1, 2, and a 3. If you guys think it's 1, put 1 up. 2, 3, and so on. Okay. Redirection is a technique used for highly dangerous behaviors. A new boy band. Yeah, like that. It's the process of directing to an appropriate activity item opposed to reprimanding. Yes, Eric?
No, I was trying to throw them in.
Oh, there you go. I did say that.
Yeah.
Throw your number out.
Yeah, throw your number up. 3. Perfect. Yeah, exactly right. You want to redirect something appropriate, gives you the opportunity to reinforce something right. Oh, and real quick, before I go forward, I want to talk a little bit about ethics. Fair pair rule. Anybody familiar with that? I am a advocate for fair pair rule. It means if you're going to tell a student no, you need to teach them something that's going to get the response of a yes. That used to drive me crazy in the public school. We can't just say no. The kid's going to keep doing it until he knows something better. So ethically, we teach replacement skill. So if they want to get out of work because they're stressed out and they need a break, that's fine. We just got to teach them break. We can't just say no. We got to give them the ability to do the right step. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Very ethical on that. I take that very seriously. In fact, I would recommend focusing more on replacement skills because that's what we want them to develop. Okay.
It's funny, at Puzzle Box, they are not supposed to say no. This is not an option. We removed that because of the negative connotation of making the child feel that they were not successful. So, let's say little Johnny.
My kid gets mad at me every time I tell him no.
Okay. You got to be like, that's not an option, but then follow up with, but you can do this or this.
Or not available right now. Try this.
That's a really good one.
He gets mad at me if I say no. He's like, don't tell me no. That's not nice. I'm like,
Oh, good job, Gabe. Because guess what? That's what he's being. It's fluency there, Dad. I love that. He doesn't. I'm gonna have to talk with that teacher. There you go. But that is it, because we didn't want the kids to feel beat down.
Right.
And so many times, untrained teachers that are also in crisis are, no, don't do this, Jonathan. Don't do this, Manny. Don't do this. But then they're like, okay, well, what do you want me to do? I've done my work. I'm bored. What do you want me to do then?
Yeah.
So I love that with pairing it with what the successful outcome would be. Very nice.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pam. Yeah, I'm just big on it because if they don't know the skill, you can't blame them for not doing it. So I think that's a big step. And to help you, sir, you may, can he have a lot of those items later? Like if you tell your son no and...
well, like for example, our biggest issue is electronics. I think there's probably a lot of parents that can relate to that.
Sure.
And so for, at least in my home, we try to limit it. We set like time limits per day. And so if he wants to play electronics at a time in which like he's past his limit, or if we take a break or something, like, no, you can't play that right now, he'll get upset. Like, no, don't tell me. It's okay, you're not in trouble.
Sorry, buddy. We're just using you as an example.
Yeah, Daddy's talking about it. So things like that, right? So I think it can also be largely situational. For me, oftentimes it's like, hey, don't run into traffic. Don't, let go of my hand when we're traveling in a third world country. You just stay with me. Things like that, right?
Sure. And then you would direct it to, okay, stay on this side of the road. because that way we're giving them the direction where to go. I like accepting wait. So I'll say, remember, you can have this later at this time. Because that way you're not saying no, you're just saying you have to wait a little. And then you can fade in alternatives while he's waiting. And then that's an opportunity to give him the access to new items he may find reinforcing, and that may help get away from the electronics.
What about the flip side of that? What about when they're telling us no?
Ah,
How do we combat that?
okay, so I always like to look at the function. So is he saying no to get attention? Is he trying to get an item? Is he trying to escape something? So then what I would do, you would put that on extinction and just withhold the reinforcement for it. So if he says no because he doesn't want to do work, we'll keep the work in front of him and remind him that he'll get what he's earning once it's done. And I like keeping that golden carrot there. It's like a paycheck for adults. We want to make sure they're working for something, and I don't blame them. So we just remind them what they're earning. You could do if-then boards. You can put a picture of work, and then you can put a picture of the item if he's more visual, so that way he can make that connection, also known as a first-then board. And if you want to give me your email after, I'll be happy to send you some information on that.
One great one to use is, what would you like to do to earn that? If they ask for something in particular, like, I want to get on the iPad. Okay, what would you like to do to earn that? There's always things that need doing. That's one thing I do at my house all the time. It's very helpful. Because it teaches them also the reward of, like, if I do something that's good, if I take help around the house, if I do things that are helpful, I will get rewarded for it, which is a real good system to build in.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great idea.
And I like what you said, John, too, because you're teaching them to accept alternatives.
But you gotta build a fade. You gotta build a
Oh, yeah.
fade
Yep.
in there. Trust me, from someone that went through a divorce during that process that never did the fade, Loki was 16 years old going, so how much money am I gonna make on that?
Yeah.
You want me to clean my room? How much am I gonna make on that? And I looked at him and I was like, it's for making mama happy. And he's like, nope, I need tangible. What are you talking about there? You know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, that becomes an issue of power balance and things like that. That's when you might get the things like, well, tell you what, you do that, you get your power cord back, then it's actually a possibility.
I like that.
Sorry, man. It's like, don't get mad about it, don't get heated, just be like, hey, this is where it is, buddy. I love you, but, you know,
Well,
I
you know,
know
like,
that happens.
another example, like sometimes in our situation, the biggest battle I have every morning is I don't want to go to school. I'm like, I get it, bro. I don't want to go to work either. Too bad. We kind of have to. And then that turns into an argument of like, just too bad isn't. It's not really a good answer. If your boss gives you a too bad answer, you're gonna be pissed off too.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, it's 7 in the morning when I'm sleep deprived and exhausted and really don't want to go to work, I don't have a better response, you know, other than like, hey, buddy, you gotta deal with it. Sorry.
What do you do to reinforce yourself is the question. We all have that moment. I find what's helpful is like when I have a day where I don't want to go to work, it's like, well, I want to make sure I keep power on, keep things going for it, keep the ability to take care of my kids, take care of my house, all that stuff. So it's the same thing I'd say to him. I don't want to go to school. And I know, but like all your friends are there, you can have some fun stuff you're going to do today. And you also got to reframe yourself because you're teaching them to be negative about work when you're teaching them not to be negative about school when you're being negative about work. I don't want to go either. He's just mirroring that behavior. Kids are just mirror machines now. That's what they do.
Yeah. And I think there's truth to that. So what I would almost recommend, and this is why I love Puzzle Box so much, the goal is to have them enjoy coming here. So I think the first step we want to do is see what's so aversive, and then kind of make this more rewarding for him to come in. So that's when you would pull the team in and be like, hey, what can we do to kind of make it more enjoyable for him? So I have kids, I have toys waiting for him. I got one guy who wants to chase me around outside. So we tell Mom, remember, Bill's going to be there chasing you if you do your work. So that way he has something on the horizon to look forward to. That's our goal
For
at Puzzle
Gabriel, I'm
Box.
gonna give you a quick one. Stop using the word school. No. That's right, buddy. I got you, man, because he listens to everything we're saying right now. That SCHOOL is adversive. So find something. Like, I can just give you my example, mom to dad. My son loved phone taps. You know, yes. So you Elvis Duran in the morning show at 7:15 every morning. They do a like the Jerky Boys back in my day. It was a prank call that they're basically doing. Loki thought it was the funniest thing ever. So we never went to school anymore. It was, you gotta get in the car, we're gonna miss the phone tap. Completely changed the perception. So if there is a game that he likes, that's when we're gonna preference assessment.
Oh,
Well,
these are great.
If there's something that he likes a lot, then you only make it available on the drive there. You get what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you know what time it is? It's time for us to do X, Y, Z. Oh, but you know, come on, I'm waiting for you. We can't have any fun unless you're there. Now you've not used that adverse word that could have left a different, because maybe I don't want to go do work. They're going to put demands on me. They're going to, I don't want to do it. And as a child, he hasn't learned what his true reinforcement is except for electronics right now.
So now, sorry.
Oh, no, you're
sorry.
fine. No, this is good stuff. I love hearing it.
A non-ABA, one of my gurus said, so all these parents are having, and sorry, my accent comes out because I've seen him in my head. All these parents want to know why their kids love electronics. In order to break electronics, you must be more entertaining than the electronic. Yes, but you have teenagers, you know, okay? But remember how I was just talking about doing the goofy face? Doing the goofy face? Even if it is plain, and here comes the one that got me to break him, was I started saying, okay, yeah, we can be on electronics, but we got to play this game together. Oh, you want to learn how to break that real quick? He'll be like, I'm going to go on Discord and go talk to my friends, or, hey, I'm going to go read a book. I'm like, you don't want to play with me? He's like, oh, no, Mom. No, because you know what I did? I went old school Mario Kart where I can go from start to finish on all 9 levels on one life. Let him remember that his mom is OG. That's what you need to do, Dad. Find something that he is engaged in, that he is highly reinforced in, and then be more entertaining than that. Because see, Gabriel's listening to everything we're saying already, putting his 2 cents in. He's extremely intelligent. So if we change the adversement of that word of where we're going and turn something into, oh, hey, man, it could be, what is that, Five Below? Is that the place that has all them little handheld games?
Yep.
Yeah. Have one that is only in the car. He can't have it any other time except for when he's in the car. Watch how much he's going to be in the car, and he'll become, Dad,
Let's
it's
go.
time now.
It's funny you say that too, because like, of course, like first thing in the morning, huge protests, right? But then back during Christmas break when we went on vacation, I went to wake him up at like 4 in the morning to get to the airport on time. But first thing I was like, hey, you want to get on the airplane? We'll break straight. No protest, no issue. He's like, airplane, let's go. You know what I mean?
So the adversement is he knows demands are going to be put on him in an environment that he doesn't want right now.
Right.
So then, in his mind, school is associated with that demand. So what we have to do is change the morning routine. And that's what Mr. Bill was so wonderfully talking about. Talk to Missy, talk to the teacher that he goes the first class into. You see that beautiful lady over there? I've had her dress up in full outfit for some kids because that was the reinforcement to get there. We had one little boy that she would put in a chair, a rolly chair. You remember this one? And we would run him from the bus, and that was, he didn't care about it anymore because he was like, oh, Miss Stephanie's gonna scoop me to class. Because he wouldn't get his ass out of the van when we didn't, you know what I mean? He would just be like, nope. And then what do? You had a 100-pound kid that doesn't, so it was all started to just get him to class. Oh, but now it's like, oh, Miss Stephanie's gonna push me.
It's fun, man.
Right. I've got something I'm working on in my head for the kids. As I told them, I saw something on one of those reels where, at Halloween, they were dressed up as SpongeBob and Patrick, and they were chasing each other out in the parking lot. I'm like, okay, so what teacher's going to do that? Because that's what I want the kids to see. Because then it's not we're going to school, we're going to go see a show. Oh, we got to go see Miss Jessica. We don't know what show they're putting on this morning.
I volunteer.
But do you see what I mean? That's how I would change that is find something. Is there a song that he just gets all fired up about? Then you know, hey, play it as loud, turn the windows down, right, you know what I'm saying? You know, these kids love loud sounds, bass. I can't stand it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be my nanny now. I'm old. I'll be tapping on the window, turn that crap down. You know, kids love it though. And if it means for 2.5 minutes that you got to be playing boop 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 whatever in the Sonic. Oh, I went to Miami with her son for 3.5 hours. I made the worst mistake. I told him he could be the DJ.
It's a long drive.
That's when Sonic came out with Sonic and Tails and this electric. Oh my gosh, I made it to Miami. See, he knows what the song is, and it's like, I made it to Miami faster than I ever could. But that's what I would do. Make it fun and get him engaged, something that he wants, just like the airport. Just know, it may really reinforce it because he then maybe show him the clock and what time and when it's. But that's the part I have seen that most parents fall short on, is the details. Our wonderful minds want the details, and sometimes we skip over them. So it may be, if it's 7 o'clock, you have to leave your house. Then you know that the drop dead day, 7:05, we got to be out of here. So you can put a timer
for dad and tell him, hey, I need your help. You gotta make sure. I'm in the car. I got a mission. Now it's not going to school. It's dad's on a mission. I'm gonna help dad get on a mission. Now I'm kicking you in the butt, dad. And when that kid can come into you and be like, Dad, you late, go. You got to go. You got to go. Oh, now it's a whole different story. So sorry, y'all get me on my.
No,
I love this. Y'all go ban me from parent training.
No,
I'm
actually,
just gonna have you up there as a co-presenter, that's all.
no, I'm glad you said it because you really, that's the $1 million statement. So Pam is actually, she is the poster lady for this, being the reinforcer. If you pair yourself with enough reinforcement and you become the reinforcer, that's your Shri-la-la. That is your success. Because now they seek your approval and they're going to comply to instruction. So there's something to that, Pam.
Thank you.
No, it's true. It's true. So that's the goal. If you can get all tangibles out, and now they just, my little buddy, I don't want to mention his name, but over time, him and I reinforced each other. We didn't even need any reinforcement outside of that. So building rapport, building relationships, very important. Letting them know you care and letting them know that you're going to.
And we got two of them. You wanted that in TLA right now. We've got two of them. That's what their earn is to spend time with other adults.
Yeah.
So
A lot
yeah,
of kids
this is
find
great.
certain staff reinforcing. So pat yourselves on the back and use that ability. Because, yeah. Alrighty, let's see. In able to provide reinforcement, we need to determine what is reinforcing. So I gave that little example about calamari. We're not going to use that with the kids. So we do a little bit of a different method. Am I okay to step over here, sir? Alrighty.
I'll follow you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll go slow. Alrighty, so let me just go forward and see what we got. We've got 5 types of preference assessments: single stimulus, paired stimulus, multiple stimulus with replacement, multiple stimulus without replacement, and my absolute favorite, free operant. I'll tell you why later. Okay. Single stimulus is the presenting of one item at a time. In this case, we merely determine if he takes the item, or she, excuse me, takes the item or not. So I'm going to walk over here real quick. I'm just going to grab an item. Okay. We'll go with the sanitizer. We can use our imagination. We're going to pretend this is all wonderful, wonderful things. So Pam, if I can use your brilliant mind,
Absolutely.
just walk forward. I'm very simply going to present the item to her. See if she takes it or not. Okay? She took. All right, there we go. So that was aversive. Do we think that was reinforcing? No. So that's what we saw from that. So we put this back. Thank you, Pam. Felt real. Okay. All right, next one. We're going to go with, oh, shame on me. Paired stimulus. The presentation of 2 items simultaneously presented to the child, and whatever selected is the reinforcing item. So Pam, if I can use your brilliant mind again, go ahead and pick one, my friend.
Do you want me to act like what our kids would do?
I could use a challenge. All right. There you go. So she wants my phone. Very cool. So I didn't pay my bill, so I'm safe. Anywho. And another thing I wanted to say, this is very important. Who's heard of priming? Have we gone over priming? If you have a child who doesn't know what these things are, they may not enjoy it. So who's ever been to Publix or Winn-Dixie and they have those samples out? If you don't know what they taste like, they do that to you, so you got to get a taste for it. That's priming. So now you know what it tastes like and it may find reinforcing. So Pam, I'd probably let her play with the phone for a little bit, get a little taste of the reinforcement, then take it back. So now she's got the taste of it, but now to earn it, we got to do the work and do that kind of stuff. So, okay? But very important, if they don't know it's reinforcing, they won't find it reinforcing. Okay, multiple stimulus with replacement. I'm going to go ahead and move this table over, okay? And if anybody has any questions, oh yeah. Alrighty. Okay. So I have 4 items in front of me, if you will see. It's also known as an array. Okay. Usually we'll do 4 items. Okay. Can I volunteer? Pam, how you feeling?
I was gonna say,
Or anybody else want to come up?
Yeah, go ahead.
go on up there.
Eric got it.
I'll come up.
Okay. The legendary Eric.
All right.
All right, here we go. All right, so I'll guide you through. So this is with replacement, okay? Usually you'll run the 16 trials, but for the sake of time, we'll just do a quick one. So what I have you do, Eric, is you're gonna go ahead and pick any of these items that you find reinforcing. Okay, great. I give him a couple minutes, see if he likes it. All right, thank you, Eric. You can hand that back to me, please. Now, did y'all notice what I did? Why do we think we did that?
So that it's not the same position.
Right hand and left hand preference. So a lot of kids on the spectrum, I've learned is that if they don't know how to answer you, they may want to please you, so they'll go to what they're more acclimated to. So I'm left-handed, I tend to go to my left. So we move that to make sure there's no errors. So if he kept going like this, no matter what's there, we could say, oh, okay, right hand preference. Yeah. All right, so what I do is I slide it down. All right, Mr. Eric, you can go ahead and pick another one. It could be the same thing or, okay, first place, second place. Okay, move it down. And go ahead and do that. Go ahead and pick another one for me. Okay, so this is interesting. All these items may reinforce it. What do we think if Eric kept going to this, or if he kept going to that?
Preferred.
I only want that.
Okay, there you go. So that would show it's reinforcing for you. I would like that too. That's my my beach towel. So that's what I would do. But anyway, yeah, so that's how you would determine that. You do that 16 times and you would see what the majority was. If anybody wants to see the sheets, I can email it to you afterwards how you would do it. But then you would do a percentage, and then the highest percentage would be the best item. Okay? Borrow you one more time for the next one. This is a little bit simpler. Multiple stimulus without replacement. And it's exactly how it sounds. So go ahead and pick an item for me. Okay? He plays with it. He's having a good time. I did my job right. If I can have that back, please. And then I put it into the ether. Now, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and pick another one for me. Okay? Second place. Okay? Thank you. Move it down. Third place. Okay? And then that would be fourth. Now, if you noticed, it's quicker, it's easier, but you won't get as much detail. But you may get a pretty good idea of what the ranking system is. Okay?
May I ask a question?
Oh, absolutely, ma'am.
So what do you do if you were doing this and if you put all 4 items back, and let's say you take the one that he picked first.
Okay.
He melts down now because he's like, I don't want any of this other crap. I want that. Now, some of our older kids that have vocal expression, we have heard that.
Yep.
I want that. I want that. I want that. They don't want anything to do with the 3 items that are still left on the table. What do we do if we're trying to do this at home on our own?
Oh.
What would we do if that situation
I like you to be, because you lead me into these great segues. I do like it, because you're leading me to my next point, Pam. Free operant. And I'll explain why. So, we can only do that. Oh, why, thank you. Oh, thanks. So, a free operant, I love them for a couple reasons. One, they're very simple. So when you're in the home setting, you don't have to set everything up. You just basically put everything on a table and say, have at it. And then they make the choice. So that way you limit those decel behaviors because you're no longer in a state of removal. You're no longer in a state of conflict. You're letting them go forward.
Can I add something to
Oh,
this real
please,
quick?
absolutely.
Just from the teaching aspect of it. Parents, if you're doing this at home, make sure that all 4 objects that you're putting out there are available.
Ah, yes.
Sometimes I've been in a situation where a parent puts an option that's out on the table, but then that option really isn't available. Because then what the kid chooses, it's like, nope, not that one. And then the kid has the meltdown because it's like, well, then why did you have it on the table?
Right.
So, it's like whatever the 2 options that we give them as, well, this isn't available now, but you can have this and this. Make sure that it is truly something that they have the option to use and that you will be happy with.
Right, exactly. Just think.
So I have a question. Okay, so you got the 4 items there and you're doing the free offer, right? And you said, you've been playing with this too much. Let's try this. Let's try this item. We have this and you haven't touched it all day or all week.
My thing with that thing, I'm not one to remove a reinforcer from a kid.
It's because we're looking at it as a reinforcement
Yeah.
right now, not for them to have generalization of new items. We're just doing reinforcement.
Okay.
Now, to answer what we can do, that would be good for selecting alternative programs. So if you want to teach a child that maybe, so in your example, we can't do tablets all the time. So we may need to expand the repertoire of this reinforcement. That's when we may want to do is selecting alternative. But it's a good question, Faye, but for this entirely, it's just to determine what's reinforcing for them at that time for success.
Oh, okay. So if the kids just say, I'm bored with this or whatever, then that's our opportunity to say, okay.
A brand new
Uh-huh.
assessment, be like, okay, but now this
Okay.
isn't an option. I'm not even gonna bring it out anymore. So if
Okay.
the iPad is what we
Okay.
have to shape because that's all they're used to,
Mm-hmm.
is that then, well, the iPad is not available. So which of these would you like?
right.
And you can have any of these. And it's how we present it to them because now instead of going, you don't get the iPad, you get this or this.
Uh-huh. No.
They're already like, well, I don't want that. Now you're gonna have conflict. But if you go iPad and it's not in sight, it's not available. But we've got this and this. Which one do you want? You can have either one.
Okay.
Now they're like, oh, it's my choice. I get to pick. You're not dictating to me, and especially when we have children that are defiant children. Anything that is compulsive, defiant disorder, then they're like, no, thank you. You told me what I can choose, so
Okay.
no. Instead, it's you can have either one. Which one do you want? I'm letting you decide. iPad's just not an option. It's not available.
Okay, but this is what they see.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what I think
Gotta
what-
get the buy-in.
Okay.
And then what Pam did, which I thought was really great, is you're presenting other options. You're not saying no. And always give the kids choices. If they can have the opportunity for choices and we provide it, it allows for autonomy. It allows for pairing because they know that they have some control over their day. And I think everybody should have some of that, whether you're 5 or 50. So, okay, free operant. Did that.
Yeah.
Questions so far? Everything making sense? Am I doing my job okay? Good. Okay. All right, who's ready for another ASR?
None. You got this, and this is what you, and then we get
That's
the
what we
names.
have to shape. Yes.
So how can we do that? Well,
So real quick, I'll talk to you after. I'll show you this one
It
real
all
quick.
clicked.
okay. Later.
So now
Because
we
had
know.
an issue.
We now know.
Okay.
That's why I'm saying
Okay.
this is why parent training is so important, not just to our parents, to the entire field. Yes, because when you have like-minded individuals that can speak freely in an open format about the science, the data, then all of a sudden in a relaxed state, which we are, it comes really close to, oh, this is where the conflict is because there is no free choice being allowed to feel that there is freedom. It is only black and white.
Yes.
Got you.
And that's why I like these conversations because we get into
Absolutely.
questions that get answered and we expand our knowledge base.
Yes, sir.
Very, very true. ASR, who wants to give it a go? Remember the whole finger trick? Which is not,
That's right.
there we go. Good. Anybody else? Very good.
Well, I said number one, but I'm
Well,
wrong.
listen.
Oh, it's okay.
Remember, number one's what we just did, where they can play.
On my pre-assert,
Yep.
Oh,
my pre-test, I marked the wrong answer, but
it's a post-test you got to worry about now, man.
We got to do
You
anonymous.
got this.
Okay, so what is number 4?
That's a joke. That's not a joke. That's actually a term I've created in my selective compliance. It-
That's
it's,
good for you to make that face because nobody knows that term.
it's a half joke. It's kids who comply when they decide to.
kinda.
Oh,
So on Monday they may know the skill. Yeah.
Sort of.
So Monday they know the skill. Tuesday they just happen not to know it. Second, selective compliance. So.
I chose that one because I've lived that.
Yeah. Oh, we all have. We are all susceptible to this.
yes.
Every single one of us, even the guy right here. So I do a lot of self-monitoring on that. Yeah, let's see here. All right, so we'll go with selective compliance.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, here we go. Examples of RIRD. Everybody remember what that was? Response, interruption, redirection? Okay, it can be applied in various contexts to reduce repetitive and stereotypical behaviors. Pam summed that up earlier with the screaming. You're breaking that, and then you're allowing for a window of opportunity to reinforce an appropriate behavior. So that was a good example, Pam. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's how that can be used. Verbal stereotypy, we interrupt that. If a child engages in repetitive verbal responses, you may want to interrupt the behavior by asking a different question or providing a different response. Exactly right. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. I'm going to go ahead and speed ahead. Apparently, I got to move forward here. So here's some other examples. We will send the slides out. Feel free to look at your leisure. Okay. I'll go ahead and fast track it. Respond involves the blocking of the behavior to occur. That could be response blocking. That could be stepping out of the way. That could be blocking the taking of reinforcement. Anything of that nature. Using prompts, go to the prompt hierarchy, least to most, independent, verbal, gestural, partial, then most physical, most to least, the inverse of it. Okay? You do least to most for compliance, most to least for teaching new skills. Make sense? Okay, all right. Final ASR, the purpose of a precedence assessment is to 1, increase seek behavior, 2, kill some time, 3, determine what is reinforcing for the child. 3, all right. That may be 3, but you guys are number 1.
No.
Thank you for the time and the privilege of being able to work with you and your children. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.